Chapter 3, 113. Bai Ning Bing versus Yan Tu. Translator, Chibi General Editor, Chibi General. Time slowly passed. The spectators were gradually moved by the match. To think Bai Ning Bing is actually so strong, being able to fight so evenly against Lord Yan Tu. She is using rank 2 Icicle Goo against Yan Tu, but isn't at a disadvantage. Being able to use Goo Worms to attack properly while moving is basic in Goo Master battles. But Bai Ning Bing is executing it perfectly. No doubt Bai Ning Bing is a genius, and her foundation is also extremely sturdy. No wonder she has not been defeated till now. Fang Yuan was among the crowd and was watching the match calmly. Wei Yang and Shang Xin Ci had also come and were standing beside him. The three were in disguise, hiding among the crowd. Bai Ning Bing is fighting very forcefully. Even though she is using Icicle Goo, once the numbers of icicles go up, her primeval essence consumption will also go up. Wei Yang was worried. There is a difference between the primeval essence of rank 3 and rank 4. But Yan Tu is similarly using Fire Pellet Goo, and his primeval essence is also continuously depleting. He might be rank 4, but he only has B-grade aptitude. Bai Ning Bing is using the primeval essence recovery speed of her AA-grade aptitude to contend Yan Tu's rank 4 cultivation. Fang Yuan understood Bai Ning Bing's battle tactic with one glance. If that is so, then this will be an uphill battle for Bai Ning Bing, Shang Xin Ci exclaimed. Now she was also a Goo Master. With Shang Yanfei's careful teachings, her vision was expanded, and she could see through a lot of things. As the three conversed, the situation on the battle stage suddenly took a turn. "Little girl, you really like jumping around." Yan Tu's lips curled into a smile that did not resemble a smile. He suddenly raised his right hand and grabbed towards Bai Ning Bing from dozens of steps away. As his right hand made a clawing motion, the imprint of a goo worm on his palm flashed. Whoosh! There was the sound of flames blazing, and in a blink of an eye, a giant fiery claw formed and flew towards Bai Ning Bing. The giant claw only had 3 fingers, looking like an eagle's claw, except it was orange-red. Flames were scorching, and even before the claw reached her, Bai Ning Bing could already feel the intense heat. This was a rank 3 fiery claw goo. Bai Ning Bing immediately used her movement goo to increase her speed and pull apart some distance between them. She had already inquired about the information on Yan Tu and made preparations. She knew this fiery claw's attack range was smaller than fire pellets. It could only move several meters away from Yan Tu. However, Yan Tu cackled and used his movement goo as well, quickly closing in on Bai Ning Bing. His movement goo was rank 4 and had superior effects compared to Bai Ning Bing's. Thus, not only was Bai Ning Bing not able to widen their distance, Yan Tu was getting closer instead. The fiery claw continuously descended on her and made grabbing motions. It was difficult for Bai Ning Bing to evade the fiery claw as it was quick and stable under Yan Tu's skilled manipulation. Bai Ning Bing's situation was becoming more miserable as she repeatedly rolled on the grassland. Boom! The fiery claw brushed past Bai Ning Bing's shoulder and fell on the grassland, immediately setting that part of the grassland on fire. The flames blazed furiously and started spreading. Yan Tu willed it, and the fiery claw once again rose from within the flames. It was just that it looked less threatening than when it had just been summoned. However, with a slight decrease in Yan Tu's primeval sea level, the fiery claw instantly regained its splendor, wiping away all sluggishness. Frost Arrow Goo! Bai Ning Bing regained her footing and stretched out her little finger. Frost Arrow Goo was residing in it and had formed a blue tattoo. A ball of icy blue vapor condensed. In a blink of an eye, the frost vapor formed into an arrow. The arrow struck the fiery claw and suppressed its imposing flames. Frost Arrow. Goo was a rank 4 goo bought by Bai Ning Bing during the auction. It immediately established its dominance once used. The fiery claw looked like it was about to be extinguished. Yan Tu slightly furrowed his brows. Then, without considering the expenditure, he poured in primeval essence, and the fiery claw showed signs of recovering. However, how could Bai Ning Bing let him do as he wanted? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. She activated Icicle Goo, and at the same time, secretly activated ice explosion and could bang. The icicles exploded as they struck the fiery claw. The violent explosion completely extinguished the fiery claw. Fiery claw goo flew back. Yan Tu did not want to lose it, so he immediately took several steps and used his hand to catch the fiery claw goo as it turned back into an imprint. Bai Ning Bing did not miss this chance. She formed two long ice blades, dual-wielding them as she slashed towards Yan Tu. Before the blades reached his body, Yan Tu felt the intense killing intent blowing at his face like an icy wind. "That's a good blade!" Yan Tu gave a weird smile and then suddenly snorted. Two fiery snakes flew out of his nose. Now, the fiery snakes were initially only the size of a necklace, but rapidly expanded, and in the blink of an eye, changed into two large pythons that were several meters long and had the width of a bucket. A fiery snake moved ahead in front of Bai Ning Bing and blocked Bai Ning Bing's two blades, while the other fiery snake wriggled around from the side to the back of Bai Ning Bing and started its attacks. They appeared, Lord Yan Tu's twin snake attack. Sigh, I was defeated by this move. Yan Tu's control over the two snakes is really exquisite. The opponent is left unable to defend against both. They are really difficult to deal with. The blazing snakes caused an uproar in the audience. Bai Ning Bing's expression was solemn. The fighting intent in her blue pupils gathered into ice. The fiery snakes gave her a tremendous pressure, but this instead stimulated her fighting spirit even further. Bai Ning Bing wielded her two blades and fought the two fiery snakes, while Yan Tu stood outside the range of the battle and manipulated the snakes. Yan Tu was able to use his mind to do three tasks at once. Although he was only controlling two fiery snakes now, the movement was exquisite and the control was precise. This instead caused him to expend more of his mental energy. Then only in a fiery snake goo was a rank 4 goo, and under the pincer attack from two rank 4 goo, Bai Ning Bing was slowly falling into a disadvantage. She was finding it more and more difficult to defend against the attacks. After all, her movement goo and defensive goo were not outstanding. Bai Ning Bing was an offense-type goo master, and her goo set placed attack as the main priority, while movement and defense were on the weaker side. There was nothing she could do about this. Goo Master's primeval essence had a limit and was not infinite. Thus, one needed to allocate the use of their primeval essence properly. Bai Ning Bing proportioned most of her primeval essence into the attack aspect, while the primeval essence left for movement and defense were relatively lower. Because of this, the movement goo and defensive goo she assembled were the goo which consumed less primeval essence. The goo worms that consumed less primeval essence were naturally slightly less effective. After all, you get what you pay for. These two fiery snakes are restricting Bai Ning Bing's options. Just look, if the fiery snakes gets damaged from Bai Ning Bing's attacks, Yan Tu will just expend his primeval essence and heal them. It won't be good if this continues. Wei Yang stood beside the stage, his brows furrowed. Fang Yuan's gaze flashed. He didn't speak but was looking forward to Bai Ning Bing's response. Bai Ning Bing suddenly burst out with attacks. She used Frost Breath, Goo and Frost Arrow Goo one after another. The continuous frost aura slowed and restrained the fiery snake's offense. However, this barrage of attacks sharply increased her primeval essence expenditure. "Little girl, stop struggling." Yan Tu laughed and shot out balls of fire pellets. Some of these fire pellets shot towards Bai Ning Bing, forcing her to dodge and waste her energy. The other pellets shot toward the fiery snakes and fused into them, causing the weakened fiery snakes to become even more vigorous. This was the combination battle tactic of fire pellet goo and fiery snake goo. Yan Tu had refined and perfected this tactic after having gone through hundreds of battles at the battle stage. Compared to him, although Bai Ning Bing had the talent, was smart, and had high comprehension, the time she had spent was too short and did not have as much accumulated experience as Yan Tu. Bai Ning Bing wanted to make explosive attacks and defeat the two fiery snakes, but this was seen through by Yan Tu, and he immediately struck back, thwarting Bai Ning Bing's attempt and displaying his shrewdness as well as his experience. How is she going to deal with this? Wei Yang's brows were tightly knitted. The situation is not looking good. Shang Xin's CI also slowly analyzed the match. Bai Ning Bing's dark blue pupils flashed with a decisive light. Ice crystal goo. She used her vital goo, her true trump card. She had not intended to use it this early, but she could do nothing about it. Since the match started, besides the deadlock at the start, Yantu was gradually gaining the initiative and suppressing her. Bai Ning Bing was an attack-type goo master. If she wanted to take back the initiative, she had to increase her offense even more. Creak. Bai Ning Bing's whole body emitted creaking sounds like water freezing into ice. In a blink of an eye, she changed into a humanoid ice crystal. Her body slightly expanded, and her silver hair was covered with frost, becoming rigid. Ice crystals spread towards the two ice blades, making them sharper, colder, and even more firm. "Oh, little girl, you're going all out now?" Yantu spoke, but soon his smile froze on his face. Bai Ning Bing's whole body turned into ice crystals and had no more hesitation as her attack and defense had integrated into one. She directly charged through the fiery snake's attacks, heading towards Yantu. To shoot a horseman, first shoot his horse. To catch bandits, first catch their ringleader. Yantu immediately mobilized another fiery snake and blocked Bai Ning Bing. Frost breath, goo. Bai Ning Bing breathed out blue frost. In her ice form, the frost aura that she breathed out was of a higher level. The fiery snake immediately shrunk from this frost breath aura. Bai Ning Bing continued to charge towards Yantu. "Old man Yantu, come fight with me if you have guts." Yantu turned grave. He did not specialize in close combat. Bai Ning Bing's might was awe-inspiring. He would definitely be in trouble if he fought with her in close combat. He might be at rank 4 and walk the powerful fire path, but Yantu's fighting style was hit and run, and because of his shrewd nature, he was not incited by Bai Ning Bing's remarks and started retreating with his movement goo. Bai Ning Bing's heart sank. Her body had turned into that of ice crystals, so her movement goo was less effective than before. She would have to slow down Yantu if she wanted to catch up to him. Thereupon, Bai Ning Bing repeatedly shot out frost arrows. The cold, frosty aura of the frost arrows had the effect of freezing muscles and blood, thus slowing down the target's movement. However, Yantu easily dodged with his superb technique. None of the frost arrows landed on him. The frost arrows could not hit Yantu, causing the distance between Bai Ning Bing and him to become larger. Yantu laughed coldly. He felt no embarrassment while being chased by a junior. He made the best judgment. Ice crystal goo could not be used frequently. If it was used for longer periods of time, it could cause the user to completely change into ice crystal and become an ice sculpture. Thus, Bai Ning Bing used vitality goo at the same time as ice crystal goo to maintain her life force. However, even vitality goo could only prolong the time the ice crystal goo could be used. Yantu knew this clearly. Bai Ning Bing had investigated him. He had also investigated Bai Ning Bing. As long as he prolonged this match, victory would be his for certain. Although such a method did not display even a little of the dominance of Firepath Goo Masters, this was no doubt the most optimal tactic. Bai Ning Bing stopped. "I am not able to strike this old guy. Only that move can change the situation now." Her eyes flashed with a trace of hesitation. "Should I use this move or not?"